Our next guest is from Reformed Temple of Laguna Woods. I want to welcome Beverly Jennery to the program. Thanks for joining us again, Beverly.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to see you remotely. You guys have a lot going on over at the temple, so I want to get right to it. You have a lecture series coming up with a rabbi that's going to be on March 12th, beginning then. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, the Rabbi's Lecture Series is one of the most popular events that we have. And our next series is, as you say, starting on March 12th. And it's at 1 o'clock. It will be in the multi-purpose room of Clubhouse 5. March 12th and March 19th, the rabbi will be talking about the Torah and current concerns, such as ecology, war and peace, and feeding the hungry. And those are issues that are really important and at forefront in our minds right now. On March 29th, the series is going to continue, but it'll be at a different location. As you know, we've had to scramble for locations with what's happening with the renovation in Clubhouse 1. So on March 28th, he's going to be informing on who is a Holocaust survivor, a subject that is more complicated than many think. The check in the amount of $18 sent to Eileen Garbett will ensure reservations for this interesting, informative series.
Now, are these opportunities for everybody to kind of take a deeper dive on subjects that you would normally do during a service?
Oh, absolutely. You have more time, and at the end of his lecture, there are questions that are answered, and everyone's welcome to attend these. They're interesting for the general population, I think.
Now, also,
yes.
we have a Seder coming up. Tell me a little bit about what a Seder, for folks who aren't familiar with a Seder and the whole concept of that. Tell us a little bit about Seder and when the next one's coming up for you.
Right, a Seder is a not a reenactment, but a retelling of the biblical story of the flight from slavery in Egypt. And everything that is done during the Seder is symbolic of getting freedom, of what the tears of slavery, the joy of freedom, and with songs and with the story, we celebrate freedom. And that's exactly what it is. It's a celebration of freedom. And then there's a traditional dinner with all the traditional trimmings that, you know, people love, including wine.
Unleavened bread, the wine, and those kinds of things, right?
Right, the unleavened bread, which we call matzah, and it's a very interesting and telling story, but also very emotional and joyous and precious. And the more information on that will be forthcoming. But that again is on April 23rd, which is the second night of Passover. Passover is an 8-day holiday.
Okay. You guys have a lot of fun at the church too, and you guys are going to do some over at the Seagramson Center where you guys are going to go see Funny Girl. Tell us a little about that one. You guys are good.
Yes. Most of us have seen the movie and Barbara Streisand, and we love it. But a lot of people have not seen it as performed as a musical on stage. And I have seen it, and it is an absolutely wonderful experience. And the temple will be sponsoring a trip to the Seagramson Center to see that performance on June 4th. This will include transportation, which will leave from the towers at 6:30 p.m. And anyone who's interested should call Carol Sandusky to make sure they get in time to get tickets.
Okay, that sounds like a fun thing. On a more serious note, I think one of the most important things that any place of worship can do is help people through kind of the journey of bereavement. And you have some event coming up on March 4th for that. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's true. We have a bereavement group at the temple, and our next, it's called Bereavement Journey meeting, will be on Monday, March 4th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. at 2393 Via Mariposa's Rec Room. The group welcomes all who are grieving. It's open to everyone that is going through this difficult time. It's easier to do it with others. It can help, and everyone is welcome. It's led from a Jewish perspective, And for information, people should call Rachel Foreman if they feel that they would benefit from attending this.
How important do you think it is to have a community around you when you're going through the bereavement process?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's an added dimension living in this community because some people in the community can be isolated from friends or loved ones, especially if they've recently moved here. And the fact that we have a group of people who are going through the same sorts of problems. Everyone's journey is different, but the community supporting you, the group there for you, that can help a lot. It really can.
You guys have over a book club over at Reform Temple. You guys do a little bit of everything, by the way. Pillars of the Flower Moon are the ones discussing soon.
We are a very active temple. We are run by volunteers almost entirely. We have very few people who are on our staff, but we have an incredible resource of volunteers. The meeting on our March, excuse me, on March 19th at 10 a.m. We'll be discussing the book Killers of the Flower Moon by David Gran. As you know, the movie version of Killers of the Flower Moon is up for an Academy Award. So whether people have seen the movie or anticipating seeing the movie, they should be very interested in this book and the discussion on it. Members are welcome and can call Harriet Schwartz for more information on that.
Now, we were just talking about bereavement and how people can feel very isolated. You guys have a connections committee that does a lot of great work in terms of just outreach to people in the community. Tell me a little bit about what that's all about and maybe how people can get involved.
We do. Our connections committee reaches out to members of the Reformed Temple, people who we can by phone calls and give information and answer questions regarding the temple, but perhaps the most important thing that we do with Connections is reaching out to check the well-being of our members, to make sure that they don't feel alone, that if they have a problem to discuss, if they want just someone to talk to, if they're just lonely. And we started a new thing in the last few months about visiting people in person if they need that contact. They should reach out and the temple will provide help for them.
That's
yes.
a service for people because it can be a very isolating time in people's lives, especially if they've recently lost a loved one or they're just going through a time of loneliness and they're not, or they've lost their mobility. And so a really great service you guys do for the folks over at Reform Temple.
Thank you for that.
Shabbat services is coming up. So tell me, you got,
yes.
We got Shabbat coming up. Tell us about
yes. Everyone's welcome to our Shabbat. Everyone who's in here in the village or even outsiders are welcome to attend our Shabbat services each Friday night at 7:30 p.m. We're going to be moving to Clubhouse 3, the PAC, Dining Room 2, starting this Friday night, and it'll continue through the next 6 months while Clubhouse 1 is undergoing their renovation. The temple, the Jewish Community Foundation provides handicap accessible bus transportation by H-Well, the first Friday services of each month. And the bus driver will come to the door and assist people. Reservations are required, however. So somebody who does want to attend services but is no longer able to drive or has accessibility issues, they should contact Lisa Bender at 949-200-7083. And please note that the current COVID vaccinations are mandatory and masks are not required, but are really encouraged to protect the most vulnerable in our community. When you're close by a lot of other people, you may not even know that you're infectious.
right.
And it can help people to avoid getting sick, whether it's the flu or RSV or whatever letters they are, and or a cold even, or COVID. It can be serious for somebody who has health problems or is, a bit older. So
It's
you
terrific
know,
as you're able to provide the transportation for folks who can't get there, and and let's keep the community safe, like you say. That's an important part of that too. If people want to know about events, plans, locations for things, how should they get a hold of Reform Temple?
to learn more about anything that I've spoken about, any information on temple activities and events, please call our hotline or check our website, which can be accessed through the Laguna Woods Village website online. Everything is available through there.
All right, Beverly, I think we left no stone unturned. So thank you very much for your time.
We have a lot of stones going on around there. Thank you so much for having us and for allowing us this opportunity to get the word out on our activities and programs.
Absolutely. Folks, get out to Reform Temple Laguna Woods. They're doing great things in the community. Beverly, thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.